Is it on? Are we straight? Hi! Hello! Hi and welcome to my... You done? Are we ready? Okay. Hi and welcome to my first YouTube channel. No, it's not my first YouTube channel. Hello and welcome to my first YouTube video. Thought I would kick off my first video with a little Q&A, get to know me, nice easy one, because you know, talking in front of a camera is pretty hard. I'm just going to try and get used to it, get used to the editing, get used to the filming. I thought, why not start with a little Q&A? So I did put on my Instagram story, I'll put it right here if you want to check me out, and I got a few responses, so I'm going to be answering those and also just talking about some basics as well. So when and why did you get into fitness? So I got into fitness around the summer of 2016, just before I was going into the start of my third year at uni. The reason I got into fitness was because during my time at uni I did put on the pounds. I was going out a lot, I was drinking a lot, eating a lot of junk food, and I started to notice that I was putting on pounds a little bit, and I wasn't very happy with myself, and I wanted to make a little change. How I got into fitness was joined a gym, and I started just doing classes at first because I was uncomfortable with actually like going into the gym. With anybody new to the gym, it's like, what the hell, like, yeah, like loads of people around, you don't know what you're doing. So I stuck to the classes and I started doing spinning, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was just easy cardio, it made me feel so good, so good. And then I started reading more into macros, and I started following influencers like Alice Living, Rhiannon Lambert, Hazel Wallace, and learning about healthy eating. You started learning about macros and what I need to eat and what's good and what's not so good, and yeah. And then during my third year of uni I started getting more into it, and I started getting more comfortable around the gym, and I wanted to start weightlifting, so I did other classes like body pump, and so that's when I started getting into weights, and I started noticing, you know, I want to start toning up, because spinning was great and it done wonders like for my legs and stuff, but I was just doing so much cardio, and like, don't get me wrong, I lost like 2-3 stone. And then when I graduated uni, that's when I started getting more into weightlifting, and when I moved back home I started getting into more like going into the squat rack, lifting heavier, splitting my time and doing less cardio, and wanting to build muscle. So next question, how did I get into social media? When I did first start getting into health and fitness in like 2016, 2017, I actually started a blog called So Cinnamon, and I wanted to keep it like completely this. I didn't want anyone knowing who I was, so you know, I didn't have like a profile picture, I didn't use my own name. And I made a little blog and an Instagram account as well, where I would just post like some of my food, some like mostly food. That was what I was really into at the first time. I didn't want anyone to know, and I didn't tell anyone. I think I told like my boyfriend, and I think I told like one of my friends, and then people started finding it, because you know when on Facebook and it's like, oh, your friend so and so is on Instagram. Well, that started popping up on all people's Facebooks, so I started getting people from uni following me, and I just panicked and nearly cried, and I thought, nope, don't want anyone to know, it's so embarrassing. So I deleted it all, deleted everything, because yeah, I was just too scared. And I think that's one of the biggest worries about getting into social media. I mean, actually getting into it and starting it is the biggest fear ever, like, because you just worry what people think. And I was so embarrassed when people started following me that I just deleted it straight away. My friends were taking the piss out of me, like jokingly, but you know, I thought if my friends are taking the piss, and like people that I go to school with or just kind of know me are gonna really take the piss, so I was like, no. And then when I moved back home, so in the summer, that I actually started my actual thing, because I thought, do you know what, I don't care, I want to post my workouts, I want to post my food, I want to try and help people. I thought, do you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I actually started my Instagram in October 2018, to be specific, on 3rd of October.
It's October 3rd.
Don't regret it at all. Like, the biggest thing that I do regret is probably getting rid of my very first one in like 2017, and I should have just kept on with it. And yeah, I probably would change my name down the line, and I'm glad that this time around that I did just go with my name, and I did just, you know, this is me, this is what I want to do. If you want to take the piss, but don't watch me. So another question I got asked was, how did you build up your social media following? I get this quite a lot, and I've had people ask me like, oh, did you buy your followers, or, you know, should I do this, should I go the marketing person to help me? And no, like, you shouldn't. You should just be you, and, you know, the rest will follow. If you're just being yourself, if you're posting good content regularly, and, you know, you've got to engage with other people as well and support other accounts, and they'll support you back. Being yourself, like, that is the most important point, because people will follow you for you. And one of the biggest things is to try and not get caught up in it, because, you know, it can affect you, and it can affect your mood if one of your posts doesn't do great, or, you know, if one day you're not feeling good but you feel like you have to post. Don't. Being authentic and being real is the most important thing. And then following on from that, I got asked what the hardest thing about being a influencer, I hate that word, what being an influencer is. And the hardest thing for me is, it's like a full-time job on the side of my other full-time job. Like, it's time consuming. You want it to be as good as you can. Like, if sometimes I feel like it has to be perfect, then sometimes I just think, you know, I can't be bothered. Like, it is hard, like, trying to find that balance. So another thing I asked was about meal prep and if I have any tips. So I think meal prep is one of the most important things to having a balanced and healthy lifestyle, because if you don't meal prep, then you're more likely to either not eat the right stuff, or just go to the shops and buy a co-op meal deal for £4. I'm not about that life. Tip number one is bulk prep. If you are one night cooking chicken and sweet potato and some veg, just double up, you know, triple up that portion. So instead of just doing one chicken breast, do 3. Instead of doing one sweet potato, do 3. Instead of doing one lot of veg, do 3. Because then you've got, for the next 2 days, you've got your dinner sorted, and it doesn't take up any more of your time because you're already cooking it. It doesn't have to be complicated. Literally do it the night before. So for breakfast, I will just have overnight oats usually, or I will go just make my oats and then just take it to work and heat up the oats when I'm at work. And this, again, it takes seconds. You know, having snacks at the ready is also really handy. You can never have too many, so just pile in loads of fruit, bars and crisps, pop chips. Okay, so where's my cup of tea? So I got asked also about my macros, my training split, and some fitness. So I'm going to talk a bit about my fitness at the moment. And so in terms of macros, I do track my macros very, very loosely. And when I first started my journey, I was eating like 1,300 calories, sometimes even less. But now I have a better understanding of macros and what, you know, how much food my body actually needs. I do weigh out my food quite a lot. Sometimes I find, like, if you're counting your macros, that, you know, it can be quite a controlling thing, and if you have a bad relationship with food anyway, like, you know, it can create a bad relationship with food because you feel like you have to eat this much in a day. You have to. If you've not met your calorie for the day, then you might end up binging, that you just don't need it to binge just to reach the calories for your day. Or if you feel like, you know, if you've accidentally gone over by X amount of calories, and the next day you might restrict yourself. And I don't think that's what macro counting should be about. I think, especially if you're training or if you've got a really specific goal and you have to meet certain things, then by all means do it. But I think if you are going to calorie count and macro count, make sure that you know what you're doing, you know you're not going to get obsessed. Because at one point I got obsessed. Like when I first started out, if I'd gone out and eaten a pizza and then typed in the calories for the day, I'd be like, oh my god, like, that I've gone well over my calories now, so the next day I need to, like, eat less. But, you know, this stuff happens, life happens, and, you know, it's taken me a long time to realise that that pizza wouldn't have affected my journey at all. Like, now I do still have my fitness pal, I do still put in some of my stuff, just because I like to keep on track. I like to make sure that I'm getting, like, enough protein, enough carbs, and right now my goal is to build muscle and to put weight on, so I like to know that I am actually eating enough to do that, and I know I am, because by the end of the day I'm like, I've reached it and I've not really even thought about it. And it is sometimes that mind just, you know, seeing that you're doing it and you're doing it, it does make you great. But if I fall short or if I go over, I've kind of got into that balance now where that's okay. Like, it's okay to do that. It's not strict guide. So I also got asked about my training split. I don't actually really have a training split. I've tried to like have a training split, but it's just with my job, and because I work, like 1 week I work 5 days and the next week I only work 2 days. Like some weeks I can work 5 to 6 times a week, but the next week I can only work out 3 times a day, like 3 times a week. So I don't have a strict training routine. I wish I did, because it would, you know, I love a routine and I love being organised, but realistically I don't. I do split my days up, so I do my legs and then I do upper body, push and pull days. I do try and do abs like 2 to 3 times a week. It's not strict because of just life and like my, you know, routine and my job. So another question I get asked quite a lot is, how do I stay motivated, and how do I have the motivation to go to the gym, as well as like working full time and eating healthy and meal prep and all that. And honestly, like, if you enjoy it and if you love it, then it's just natural. You can't force yourself to do something you don't like, and I think it's just finding what you enjoy and what you like doing and what fits into your routine. Like, I don't see going to the gym or eating healthy as a chore or because I have to. I see it just as part of my routine. I plan what I'm going to eat, I plan what I'm going to do at the gym, and that's just second nature. There's no point going if you don't want to go that day, and there's no point going because you're eating a pizza the night before. Like, go because you want to go, and go because, you know, you want to work out and you want to feel good. So I thought I would just keep this quite short and sweet. It's probably not okay, right? Okay, now I feel really wonky. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope I don't babble on too long. I did want to keep it short and sweet, but this video has been over 30 minutes and I'm really sorry. But I mean, a lot of it is just and me looking at the camera like, okay, what do I say now? I hope you enjoyed my video and hopefully I'll be back with some more.